You can drive.
Bank branches closing. Going online, going digital, the meta, tokens, keys versus cash. It's already happening. But what does that mean? Everything's changing from what it was. We can go if you want.
Okay.
And that just means that we have to change with it. Otherwise, we're just going to get left behind. The banks know that closing branches saves them money, and they have the technology available to execute business online. OpenAI, ChatGPT, as well as new tech that is in the works that will be here before you know it. Operating in the meta, it's virtual reality. I mean, I guess it's a perfect black swan event for cryptocurrency and more virtual assets. We'll go to the one on, or you can go to this one, it don't matter. But then these virtual assets will then become valuable as real assets, not necessarily tangible assets, but they will have worth to them, they will have value to them. Much like stocks, much like crypto, much like other investments that you can't necessarily physically hold. Much like the idea of money, really. It's all faith-based. A belief system of what others value it to be and what it's worth, and how much they're willing to give you something in exchange for it. But it doesn't rule out cash altogether. Cash is king, and gold is theoretically priceless, or at least it may be here soon in the future. Which is why I continue, or we continue, to invest, diversify, Hard Assets Alliance, physical gold, precious metals, diversity, security, cash flow, in what is to be, in my opinion, and that of expert economists, analysts, financial experts, a no landing scenario where we don't see a hard crash, we don't see a soft landing, it's just no landing. Does that make sense?
Meaning it never hits the bottom?
Basically. Which is funny because it makes perfect sense to me. And I've been thinking about this for a while now. Actually, I shared this with Ronnie yesterday. And we can talk about it in greater detail. But basically, all of this is a game that they're playing. And they're not necessarily being 100% honest about the rules of the game. And they know that most people will go along with playing the game.
Well, they don't even let us, we're not even on the board.
Right. Well, when I break this no landing theory down to you, which is a realistic theory, it's really not like a theory, it's really just happening. You'll see just how far off the board we really are. Because what the goal has been here in the news headlines recently, since the post-pandemic recovery, has been interest rates, quantitative tightening, and inflation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can tie inflation directly to certain staples, certain prices, although most of the staples and prices that we would tie inflation to, that we all experience as higher prices and increases, don't actually count towards core inflation because they're too volatile. which, like I told you guys, there's going to be a few commodities out here that are going to demand higher prices, higher profits. And these businesses know that. The Fed knows that. Everybody knows that for the most part. But the consumers are going to be the ones who have to pay for that. And that's going to be the hardest part, because the consumers are going to have trouble paying these new prices for that. And in probably just a few months' time, it's going to be presented pretty much exactly how I'm telling you it's going to be presented in what this no landing, inflated CPI, higher priced, economic reset, shift. Stay tuned.
Michelle. A lot of balloons coming.
I can't see me shit anyway.
Do you want this out of the way? That's what happens when you put yourself next to the window.
But think about it like this.
Okay.
How much does this cost?
16 and change.
$16.
I just had the receipt. Oh, there it is. For 2 chicken, egg, and cheese biscuits, 2 hash browns, and 2 coffees, $16.43. Where it used to be, I could come here before school and get the entire thing for like $4. Now it's $16.43.
All right, so here's the deal. The core CPI, the inflation numbers, don't track food for obvious reasons.
Convenient.
For obvious reasons.
There's napkins.
But the goal, the target, is for CPI to get back to this 2%.
Okay, what's it at now?
A little over 4, I think.
Okay, so they want to cut it in half, basically.
And
They're
they've been chipping away at it. But
who's been chipping away at it though? Because the CPI is the core, the average of all the inflations put together. Is that kind of how it goes?
well, if you want to know who has been chipping away at it, it's the Fed.
Well, isn't the Fed the same one that's raising the interest rates on homes and things like that?
Yes. And they're using that as a tool to bring down prices. They're trying to get it to the point in which they can force a stop on spending or a reduction in spending, and then force the businesses and everyone else involved to pull back on their prices and lower inflation.
See, to me, I see that has an adverse effect, though. I see when you continuously raise prices on, or interest and things like that, it makes it so that the people who do have the things to sell have to raise their prices to the few who can buy it in order to still stay in business and stay alive.
And that is the no landing scenario. Now, granted, the no landing scenario really applies more to, let's just say, stock market, housing market, different things like that. Cryptocurrency market, decentralized currency, cryptocurrency. But here's the no landing Fed scenario. All we need is time.
Did they specify how much, though?
12 months. The CPI reports are reported month over month, year over year.
Okay.
Monthly, year over year.
Okay.
Therefore, when you compare 2021 to 2022, there was a almost 10% inflation. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And then now, here we are at almost 4%, right? Mm-hmm. But this is the price we pay.
Yeah.
All right? All we need is time. Time for that price to be normal.
Not to come down, but to be normal.
And then year over year, we're 2% above that.
So what you're saying is, no matter how you look at it, in the end, it's still pretty shitty.
You gotta ride it out. These businesses are not concerned about lowering their prices.
No, because there's still people who are coming here to pay it. Obviously, we're here.
They're concerned about riding it out until this is the new norm.
Well, I mean, gotta look at history. It used to be that you probably go somewhere and eat this entire kind of breakfast for 25 cents. Then it was $1, and that was a huge deal. No, it was $2, and that was a huge deal. Now it's $16, and it's a huge deal.
The key is going to be being able to afford it. Because it's going to happen. We are not going to have a crash or a bottom or anything. We're just going to climb high and level out at this new higher altitude of higher prices. So if this is $17 next year for the same meal, that's okay. And what they'll do is they'll say, well, the CPI report shows 2% inflation. Hooray, mission accomplished. Well, not really.
Yeah.
And you guys, I could take like drinks, you refills, anything like that?
Do you mind bringing me an ice water?
Of course.
Thank you very much.
And they're trying to get it under control now. But what happens is you have pushback by businesses that are saying we won't and or we can't lower these prices.
I was about to say, I feel like it's more of a we won't versus we can't. Because we know how much profit a lot of places are making. So it is more of a we won't versus we can't.
They know how much power they have
Yeah.
in supply.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's
that's
always going to be
that's
demand.
what's
Thank you
strong.
very much. I'm good.
So they know how much power they have in supply. So you have strong demand to lower prices. And you say, oh, well, you know what? We just can't produce as much as we used to. Then the demand drives up and the price drives up. I mean, we really want to lower the prices. We just, which then has an impact on jobs. Because as they reduce the supply, they cut back on jobs.
Yeah. So then you have less people who can afford the things that are still being made. It's just like this circle of crap. And the only people who think it's good are the ones in charge of it all and the 1% who it doesn't affect.
Hang on. Say that again.
I said the only people that aren't bothered by this are the ones in charge and the 1% that it doesn't affect.
That's fine, but we gotta put our shoes on first.
Do you get bothered by the weather?
Technically, only when it's not doing what I want it to do.
Right.
So yeah.
But there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly, but
But you're
there's-
still bothered by it,
But
right?
in theory, there's nobody controlling it either.
Yeah, in theory.
In
but-
theory, although I did see how they make lightning, by the way.
But you're bothered by it.
Uh-huh.
But what do you do?
Grin and bear it, or acclimate to it.
Exactly. What'd you do today?
Put on a sweatshirt because it was cold as crap when we walked outside.
What do you do when it's raining?
Pull your hood up or use an umbrella. So what do you do when prices go up? Buy cheaper things or don't eat or make concessions on what you do get?
Well, you said it only bothers the people who, what?
I said it doesn't bother the ones who are causing it, the ones in charge, or the 1% who it doesn't affect.
It doesn't bother them. It does bother them. But they acclimate to it. It bothers Chick-fil-A that their costs went up, but they acclimate to it. And they pass that along to you.
You think it bothers them that their profits also went up?
No, not at all.
Because that's the thing. Your price does not have to go up. It's just when you want to stay in line with everybody else. and then make extra profit that your price goes up. They could have been that one place that said, you know what, screw that. I mean, they are the chicken of the Lord according to everybody else. They could have said, we're gonna keep our prices where they are, raise them maybe a little bit. We don't need to go to 45% profit. We can stay at our 25% profit and still make a huge killing on everything and still be able to employ a bunch of people and have more people be able to afford to come through these doors and eat chicken sandwiches and french fries and whatever else.
Okay, let me ask you this. What if that was the case? And what if YouTube came to you and says, you know what? We want to pay you less so that, we don't have to raise prices.
That's a different thing. I would have to go to YouTube and say, I'm willing to make less.
That's what I'm asking you.
Who are they raising prices on?
Their advertisers, maybe.
I was about to say, because the viewers
Premium.
don't watch it, don't pay for it.
They're going to pay you less so that they can pay their employees a little bit more with that ad revenue split. Mm-hmm. Here's the deal. I don't care who it bothers, but much like the weather, adjust and acclimate to it. Plain and simple. And anyone who doesn't hear this or know this or believe this is going to be doomed. Because they're going to sit, hope, pray, wait for that to happen. The companies to say we can make less. And newsflash, it ain't happening. Let me tell you a story about Porsche. So as of March 15, 2023, we can see here that Porsche reportedly plans to initiate steep price increases in 2023 and beyond. According to MotorAuthority.com, Porsche is set to significantly increase prices starting in the middle of the year to keep its margins up in light of some major headwinds. Lutz Minsk, Porsche's head of finance and IT, said in an earnings call on Monday, Autocar has reported. The price increases will also extend to planned electric versions of the Macan, 718, Cayenne, coming in the years ahead. Miski said the new electric versions will cost around 10 to 15% more than the comparable gas-powered versions that will remain on sale for a period. According to Miski, the electric Macan will arrive in the first half of 2024. The electric 718 will follow around 2025, and the electric Cayenne likely the year after that. Around 2027, Porsche will introduce a new flagship SUV with third-row seats, though this model will exclusively offer electric power. Porsche has room to increase prices as demand for its vehicles remains high and its typical customer is in a financially strong position. Meski said on Monday during Porsche's annual general meeting. As you can see here, standing in front of a beautiful, what looks to be possibly Miami blue 992 GT3. Now, the automaker has just come off of a strong 2022 that saw sales and operating profit record levels. The crucial number for Porsche is its operating profit, which grew from 16% in 2021 to 18% in 2022. Porsche wants to maintain its operating profit between 17 and 19% for 2023, and in the longer term, increase it to more than 20% in a strategy announced on Monday called Road to 20. The price increases will help reach these targets while offsetting costs due to the heavy investment in EV technology, as well as key headwinds that Meski described as a tight supply chain, rising geopolitical tensions, and ongoing inflationary pressures. With, and I quote, "The road to 20, we are making Porsche even more resilient and our brand stronger than ever." And Meski said, and we are going to take a fresh look at everything from our product range and pricing to our cost structure. Well, there you have it, folks. They're not making concessions. They're not looking to appease people. They're looking to continue on with success and wealth, knowing that this target inflation number is going to work itself out.
After they've already raised their prices to a point.
With time.
Yeah.
They don't need to lower their prices. They just need to wait until the math is in their favor.
Then why continue to raise them until the math is in their favor?
Because they can.
That prolongs how long it takes for the math to be in their favor.
Not necessarily. As long as they stay 2% ahead, they're fine. But what it does in the interim is exactly what I just said. It makes cash king, gold priceless. These interest rates only affect those who are borrowing money.
It's true.
It only affects those who are borrowing money or who are in the business of lending money. But Porsche, it even said that their clientele is a much more affluent buyer where pricing doesn't really matter.
Okay. And some water.
And with the FDIC and this $250,000 account balance insurance that we see doesn't matter. It doesn't really mean what it used to mean. What does that do?
Oh.
It creates panic, fear, worry in the banking system. Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, Silvergate. I don't know what other bank starts with the letter S. Maybe Synovus, maybe, I don't know, SunTrust. SunTrust isn't really a bank anymore.
I was about to say, they already got them.
But what does it do? It makes people want to take their money out of the bank. When they take the money out of the bank, where are they going to put it?
It depends on the person, but they should be putting it in something that can grow them money, basically.
An asset.
An asset.
A cash flow producing asset or an appreciating asset. Gold, precious metals, or even Porsches. Think about it. Porsche is really more of a brand and following than it is an automobile.
Kind of like Rolex.
You can buy a cheaper watch to tell time. You can buy a cheaper vehicle to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
You could invest in a Porsche to make money. Especially those with the amount of money that would necessarily be unsafe in the banks. Far more protected in this other investment vehicle, pun intended, that the company has already announced they're going to raise prices on. So what does that do? When the brand says that they're going to raise prices, it automatically makes everybody else's worth more. Any pre-owned Porsche, worth more.
Yeah.
It would be different if they said, you know what, we're going to lower prices and make new ones more affordable, which then makes the pre-owned less desirable. Because it's like, well, why am I going to pay a premium for a pre-owned when I can get a new one
For around the same price.
No, they raised the price. Porsche has been working on this for years, since the beginning of the pandemic. They knew the path that they were on. And you could tell it by every person we spoke to. Remember the manager at Hennessy? Cool as a fan. Why? Because he knew.
Just like,
That he was
it's
fine.
closed right now. Oh well, it's okay. We gotta go to your soccer game in a minute.
He knew. And they also knew time was on their side. Hey, we need to make it 12 to 18 to 24 months, and after that, we're good. We got pre-orders coming in. We got allocations. We're going to be selling these things. We're taking ADM. We're selling over sticker. And we got people bidding on these.
You know what else helped their prices go up, or their ability to sell what they have go up? When that boat
Felicity
caught on
Ace?
fire.
Felicity Ace?
Felicity Ace, when it caught on fire with all the Porsches and even the I think they had some Volkswagens on there too. I don't remember what the other brands were.
So if you got money and you're worried about it and its safety, you're going to move it out of the bank. You're going to protect it in assets that are that have already shown to be appreciating and being told that they're going to go up based on the creator.
Yeah.
And when you think about the business perspective and the weight classification and the write-off possibilities, any vehicle over, I think it was 6,000 pounds, you can fully depreciate it day one. No brainer.
I was gonna say, real estate was like that during the pandemic, where you could get it, and then it shot up hundreds of thousands of dollars in worth. But it's different because you can always make more of the same house. You can. The houses didn't hold their value the same way a Porsche will or these cars will, because they're not making more of that. Does that make sense?
All right, so here's the deal with the house.
Okay.
Here's the deal with the house, and we need to get Chris on a screen share so we can have this conversation.
Yeah, Mr. Igo.
As I told you earlier in the video, what the Fed is trying to do only affects those who need to borrow money.
Yes.
And when it comes to homes, most of these people are going to be affected by mortgages.
Yeah.
Therefore, it doesn't quite play the same with Porsches.
Yeah.
Builders, developers, they rely on construction loans as well. And then to enter in on that risk with the possibility of increased risk for buyer pool potential moving forward, with market uncertainty, job loss, banking collapse, that's not necessarily somewhere I would want to invest my money in.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, certain markets are international buyers, cash buyers, don't care about interest rates. They have money that they want to move and protect.
We're talking condos now and rental houses and places like that.
We're talking mansions. It don't matter.
Yeah.
We're talking about, certain developments, certain neighborhoods that are still on a lottery wait list. And it's all relative. Not every vehicle is going to fall into the same classification as Porsche and having the ability to increase their price, increase their value, and make these appreciating assets. But some will. And for those brands and those buyers, therefore, real estate can be considered in a similar category, but you have to break it down in a similar way.
That's true.
We watch, some of these random towns on My Lottery Dream House. I won the lottery. Never been there before. These little, these tiny places, like they're not high demand.
No.
So you can't pull that off there.
Yeah.
But in certain markets, Atlanta, which is still hot.
Yeah.
South Florida, Nashville, certain parts of California,
Certain parts of Texas.
Texas, you can make it happen.
Between Bradenton and Fort Myers.
There you go.
Well, she was mentioning Key West yesterday.
We want to go to Key West one day, so check it out.
So, simple answer to a simple question. If we actually talked about this the other day, you have a vacation schedule, you go to the beach, you end up in Florida, and the weather sucks. What do you do?
Deal with it, because you've already paid to be there, and there's nothing else you can really do about it.
Deal with it, because you're already there and there's nothing else you can do about it.
Yeah.
That's like a really good answer to this question, because basically when we see prices going up, when we see inflation to the moon, when we see reports like Porsche stating that they're going to raise their prices, and more than likely other companies are going to follow suit because they know that they can, what do you do? Exactly what you just said. You have to learn how to deal with it. You're not going to sit here and wait it out and hope that the rain goes away when you got 4 days of vacation, but 7 days of rain in the forecast. You see what I'm saying? So you adapt, you adjust. Therefore, in this particular situation, what are you going to do? You're going to go.
I can't
Go,
see.
go.
You said go.
I mean, like, go.
Well, that's what I was trying to do.
Just remember Jeremy Clarkson. More power. So you have to adapt and adjust. Therefore, your best bet is going to be make more money. Okay? Now we're talking about investing. We're talking about real estate. We're talking about businesses. If you want to look historically at the wealthiest people who aren't athletes or movie stars, this is done through investing, real estate, and business. And then generational wealth that the family has built, all based on those basic principles of investing, real estate, and business. Notice I did not say get another job, you know, work more hours. However, investing in yourself to make more money could be included in that, as well as business. You could work more hours for yourself, building a business that's going to pay you more money. But at the end of the day, this is where we are. And I don't see prices coming down. I see inflation, CPI reports hitting the target 2% only because of the mathematical equation that is used to calculate CPI and how high prices stay high. All we need is time. Everybody's all bent out of shape about CPI over the last year, but next year they're going to be snowed by this CPI number that the Fed comes out with, and then the Fed's going to be like, oh yeah, we got it under control. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Your interest rates, all your interest rates did were provoke these companies to keep their prices high and ride it out. So it was like gas prices. They snowed everybody with lowering gas prices. Why? How? After they raised them to the moon.
Yeah.
You raise them high enough, when you bring them back down, people are happy.
Yeah.
And these people are sheep. They're blind. They listen to, read, and take the word of these headlines and the media and the news and the push and whoever's behind them, lobbying, paying them, promoting them, advertising. Like, they don't stop to think for themselves and really try to evaluate, dissect the situation for them. I don't care what the gas price means for somebody else. What does it mean for me? Headlines say, oh, gas prices came down. Well, I still can't afford it. So what good is that headline to me?
Yeah, gas prices came down after you raised them to almost $7 a gallon. It's not really a win when they come back down to the fives. They were still way more than they were before you started the raise. So, I talk about all the time, the way they phrase things is what you have to look at. They phrase things so that they don't seem so bad, when in reality, they're glossing over all the crap they've done to us over the last couple of years.
Glossing over what they've done and what they are about to do.
Yeah.
But even if the Fed comes out next month and says CPI is at 2%, inflation is under control, how many people is that going to change their lives? Very few. Because the simple fact of the matter is that prices are still what the prices are, high.
Yeah.
Whatever they say really has no bearing whatsoever, except for what the interest rates will be. But even then, it doesn't really matter, because as interest rates drop, prices go up. So, just me being honest, me being real, but I'm gonna be real, this coffee is gross.
Yeah, I hate Chick-fil-A coffee.
But the simple fact of the matter is if you're not working to make more money, then I hate to break it to you, but it's not gonna get any better.
Maybe.
Now I will say that I don't want this to come across the wrong way for anybody watching this video, but Atlanta sucks.
I don't miss living here. I'm not gonna lie.
We got spoiled with Florida weather and living at the beach.
And nice people.
Now we should have brought like winter clothes up here. But anyway, here's the deal, folks. You got to make more money. Building businesses, investing, real estate, cash flow producing assets. I'm not telling you what to do. This isn't financial advice. This is just Scroll Tribe and I having a conversation about the current situation that we're in and likely to be in moving forward. And get all your money out. Get all the money that you can out, really, out of the income streams that you have, and continue working to further develop more to get even more money out, because it will be needed and prices will continue to rise. Terms like affordable and middle class are going to all be very fluid and relative in the new norm, the economic shift, the reset. Wealth gap times 100.
Sounds promising. It's a joke.
Yeah, so
100 is all.
you know, and this should ring loud and clear for those who have already experienced job loss and layoffs in the tech industry, who have seen housing prices go up, housing affordability, or their likelihood of being able to afford and purchase a home going out the window, and something as simple as replacing a vehicle. I've got a 2017 Porsche Macan GTS that today, if you wanted to buy one, so we bought it almost 2 years ago.
Yes.
So in theory, you'd have to be looking at getting a 2021 in comparison, and you're looking at spending roughly 30% more to get one.
Yeah, that's true.
But guess what? The prices aren't coming down. You could choose to buy something that costs less, but even it is going to probably be 30% more than it was 2 years ago. Simple fact of the matter. I looked up a 2022 or 23 F250 Lariat. They want 90 grand used. I bought a 2017 brand new for like 60. And that was like a 40% increase. This is the new norm. This is the reset. This is the wipeout. This is the end of affordability and the middle class as you once knew it. And moving forward, life is going to go on.
Do you know what people are going to say? This is what you get when you want $15 minimum wage.
No, honestly, what they're going to say is this is what you get. This is what you voted for. Okay?
That's actually what they're going to say too. This is.
But this path that we are on actually started before the current president.
It did.
This is business. This is the economy. This is life. And life, if you want to have a chance of survival, you're going to have to prepare to be able to adapt and accommodate these changes. Much like, you're not buying anything for a nickel worth anything today like you could have 50 years ago or 60 or 70 years ago. That's just not today.
Which means in 50, 60, 70 years, you're not going to be able to get anything for $10. It's going to be that massive inflation.
The answer is not growing your own food. The answer is not, buying seeds. Granted, perhaps maybe that could help in reducing your cost of your food expense and your monthly budget. But it's not the answer, folks. I'm going to tell you the answer. I'm going to tell you the unpopular truth. I'm going to tell you what you don't want to hear. And that is, you have to make more money.
There you go. Yeah. You have to make more money. You can only buy so many. You still need money to buy the seeds. You still need money to buy the stuff to get the crops going, the chickens going, the everything else going. So everything, no matter what you're doing in life, still comes back to you have to have money in order to make it happen.
I would rather have the money than the farm and the seeds. Because if I'm farming and seeding, I'm not making money.
Unless you're doing it as a business and selling it. But then you still need people who have the money to buy the things that you're trying to sell. So it all still comes back down to money.
You need people. You need equipment. You need luck. You need good weather. You don't need bad weather. You don't need animals and rodents and other things coming in and wiping out all that you've worked hard for.
Or your government coming through and wiping out because they think one of your chickens might be sick.
Or chemtrails, particles in the atmosphere, mysterious dust floating around. harming your crops. The simple fact of the matter is me personally, I want to invest in something that is proven: business, real estate, the stock market, proven methods and strategies of building wealth that are less volatile and slightly more in my control. Granted, I can't control the stock market, but I can control my position. If I'm growing food, I can't control the weather. I can't control anything really at that point. Business, I can't control my customers and my volume, but I can control how I go to market and the target customers that I am after, and how my business is viewed and seen with the higher likelihood and possibility of gaining customers and ultimately converting on sales and driving revenues and profit.
And it's easier to make small changes, small tweaks in order to change your revenues and profits than it is when you're growing something, because you can't change the weather.
Exactly. And then with real estate, I mean, that's something that you can almost set it and forget it for the most part, really, and invest in real estate and create a portfolio based on cash flow producing assets, especially with an asset that is going to be increasingly more difficult for people to be able to purchase due to higher interest rates and lower income, whereas renting is going to be much more of a viable option moving forward, and there is a price for that.
I was going to say, you know what they never make more of?
Land.
So if you have money to invest in something and you don't know what to invest in, for me, I would pick land first, because it's going to continue to go up in price no matter what, because there's only so much land.
Diversity, security, cash flow. That diversity, security, and cash flow can exist in investing. And if you're saying to yourself, well, Kevin, Squirrel Tribe, Michelle, all sounds fine and good, but what about me? I don't have any money. I can't do this. I can't do that. Well,
there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. You don't have to buy a home. You don't have to buy a condo. You don't have to buy real estate at all. You could invest with fractions in REITs and other real estate investment trust type opportunities that allow you the ability to gain access to the possibility of seeing returns on investments in those sectors, in those markets. Everything that this I can't victim mentality attitude is not for me, so I'm not going to condone it. But I will say that I will share with you guys what I do, what we do, and how we prepare and what I see coming. And I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not trying to, pat you on your butt and send you on your way and coddle people. I'm just going to keep it real.
I do want to point out that I don't believe everybody's I can't attitude is also a victim attitude. I think a lot of it is I can't attitude is a I don't know how attitude, because they don't have anybody previously trying to explain to them and help them see outside of what they've always been shown.
And when you do, don't say that you can't do it.
Okay, so there's that. If you have somebody trying to help you and show you different ways to do things, instead of look at it as it must be nice that you can, take into consideration that everybody had to start somewhere. So in order to do that, you have to get out of the mindset of I can't or I don't know and move into the mindset of well, let me learn so that I can.
Oftentimes you can replace the word can't with won't. Whereas,
That's what I said.
I can't invest. No, you won't invest.
Won't invest.
Because investing could literally be $1. And I'll tell you guys right now, and we're going to end it here because it's freezing out here. We invested in YouTube on these particular channels about a little over a year ago. We had 0 views, 0 subscribers.
I get my silver play button when we get back home. I'm so excited.
And then you've diversified and invested even further in multiple other channels, continuously growing and building out a business, investing, and then using these returns on these investments to diversify your portfolio for increased wealth and passive income earning opportunities. But the simple fact of the matter is when you started, you didn't have 100,000 views of video. You actually didn't have any views of video.
Yeah.
And you were like, screw this.
Yes. But what's even better to me, and I know that not everybody will see it, but what's even better to me is that on top of building a business, technically, I've built what I consider my Squirrel Tribe family, like people that I genuinely care about in the comments and in everywhere else. So
I would agree.
I think that's like the best part for me.
I would agree, because along that journey, along that path, I too have kind of connected with a network as well, and some select people, not quite like you,
As broad as mine.
but Chris, Justin, some other creators, your channels, my brother, my mom, Lewis, and Doug, Trucking Prepper. I don't know if he's still out there. There have been a few that I've come across that have, Bupe. I can't forget
I was about to
Bupe.
say.
She's not creating, but
But she's helping.
we crossed paths, and I feel as though we've all helped each other in some way, but we've also seen growth and success from the investments that we have made in these diverse business and income earning opportunities.
And sometimes your investment is time. It's not even money that you have to invest. To begin with, all we did was invest time.
No, you're right. That's the other thing. I don't have any money.
You don't need money.
Well, I've got a video on my channel that literally says how to invest when you have no money. I literally have a video on my channel. No clickbait or nothing. Straight up, how to invest when you don't have any money.
And of course, because it's not clickbait, nobody wants to watch it.
No,
That's how
of
it
course,
works.
because it's showing people how to better themselves and improve their situations. They don't want to watch it.
There are a lot who would rather hold on to that negative mentality than but because it's easier to say I can't than to say I won't.
They would rather watch the video of the impending doom that is likely to come and wipe them out and destroy them financially, economically, physically, emotionally, rather than how can I do better?
So that I'm not wiped out when this happens, so that I can withstand
that
everything.
requires effort and energy on my part, and perhaps maybe even stepping back and looking at all some of the mistakes that I have made in my life, or possibly even making more mistakes as I continue down this path of actually achieving success. But if you really think about it, most people that you see today that have achieved success have probably achieved greater failures along the way.
Most people won't get where they want to go because they won't get out of their own way.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a prime example
Oh yeah, that's true.
of where he was to where he is now. And there are many more out there like that. And these overnight, millionaires and success stories don't actually happen overnight.
No. You just see them one day, then you didn't see them the day before, but it took a lot of work to get to where they are.
And I hate to say it, but I don't think that there's necessarily that many creators out there actually creating content that really is trying to help people. But there is a huge hurdle, an obstacle, mountain to climb to get over to even be able to be in a position to be seen by the people who need it.
Yeah. Because the people who need it don't want to click on the things that they need.
But at the end of the day, folks, I'm not going to lie to you. The prices are going up. CPI is going to be manipulated. We're going to see this target 2% inflation. When we do hit the target 2% inflation, the prices are still going to be high. People are still going to be complaining. But the Fed and whatever current president at the time is going to be stating that, we've accomplished the goal. Everything is fine. And we're going to have headlines and reports of businesses coming out talking about higher prices and increases while cutting back on jobs and replacing people with technology and artificial intelligence and AI and automation. And if you're not paying attention to that now, if you're not planning and preparing for that now, then unfortunately, it's going to be a tough road ahead. Until next time, folks, you guys take care. Be safe. I'm freezing my butt off. Bye.
Bye. It's not my butt. It's my fingers and my toes. Well, I put on little socks with the slides, but the top of my feet and toes are still cold.